everyone, my name is Rachel. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am here to start a new reading vlog, and I'm so excited because I have not been able to film. Well, I've been able to film, but I just haven't been motivated to film a reading vlog in like 3 months, something like that. So here we are. I'm really excited about this week because I have been working so hard this summer. There's just been so much going on at the studio that I work at. I work in a performing arts studio, for those of you that don't know, and so I've just been super busy with basically summer camps. And so this week I get to take most of the week off from work. I will be doing some hours remotely, so you know, I'll still be working a little bit, but I won't have to go into the studio at all this week, which is just amazing. So that means that I'm gonna get a lot of reading done, and I'm just really excited because my reading mood is all over the place right now. Like, I am here for like emotional and angsty romances. I want to read some alien romances. Currently, I am reading again The Magic. This is my third time reading this book. I am rereading this for the Wallflower read-along that is being hosted by B. We also have Christy, Ava, Tiffany, and Samantha. I believe those are all of the co-hosts for this read-along. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. But we recently had our first live show for this read-along. We are reading all of the books in Lisa Kleypas's Wallflower series. So this is like technically book 0.5. It's like a prequel to the main 4 books of the Wallflower series. But unfortunately, I couldn't be a part of that live show. So I am just now getting to my reread of this. So I'm excited to finish my reread and then watch the live show that, like I said, I couldn't be a part of. But I'll link that probably up in the cards above if you are interested. Oh my God, guys. Every time I read this book, I am just struck by how just top-notch it is. This is truly a top-tier romance, definitely one of my top 5 historical romances that I've ever read. What I adore about this book so much is that within just the first few pages, I don't know how Lisa Kleypas does it, but she makes you truly believe that Aline and McKenna are just completely in love with each other and completely devoted to each other. And it's just crazy how quickly she can make you care about these characters and like just really believe their connection. And so the basic premise is that when they're about like 18, 19 years old, McKenna, our hero, is working as a stable boy on the estate that Aline lives at. Aline is the daughter of an earl. So this starts out as like a friends to lovers romance. They've been friends since they were children, ever since McKenna came to their estate to start working for them. And so when they're both about 18 or 19, they give in to their feelings for each other, and they have a pretty short-lived love affair. They get discovered, and so Aline's father, who is definitely kind of a cruel man, he kicks McKenna off of the estate, and Aline is basically forced to make McKenna believe that she doesn't love him, to make sure that he won't come back to the estate, because her father has threatened that if he tries to come back for her, he will ruin McKenna's life. So she breaks his heart. So now it's 12 years later, quite the time jump, and now McKenna is back in Aline's life. He has this business partner named Gideon, who he met in the States, and they are now at Stony Cross, so at the estate that Aline lives at, to try to make some deals with Aline's brother, who is the new earl. And oh man, this is just like the perfect angsty historical romance, my God, because McKenna now wants revenge against Aline. He is intent on just ruining her because of how she broke his heart 12 years before, when in reality it broke her to break his heart, and she's got some other secrets that she's hiding from him. And oh my God, like this book is just, it's perfect. The perfect amount of angst. I love these 2 characters so much. I love the side characters. This book is also amazing because you get 2 romances for the price of 1. We are seeing, I'm about halfway through my reread, we are seeing a romance blooming between Livia, who is Aline's younger sister, and Gideon, who is McKenna's business partner, and I adore that romance as well. I could go on and on and on and on about how incredible this book is, but I like flew through 30% of this last night, and I know I'm gonna fly through the last half of this and cry my eyes out, because every time I read this book, I end up crying by the end. It's just, it is just so perfect and so emotional. Also, before I forget, as you saw in the first clip of this vlog, I am finally watching season 3 of Bridgerton. I don't know why it's taken me so long to finally watch it, but here we are. All I'm gonna say is that Colin gives me the ick. He gave me the ick in the book, Romancing Mr. Bridgerton. I actually like despised him in the book, and in this adaptation, I still don't love him. I still feel like Penelope deserves better. I kind of don't understand why she's so fixated on Colin. I don't get it, but I'm hoping that as the season goes along, I'll enjoy his character more, but he definitely gives like frat boy energy and not in a good way. And then at the end of season 2, like she overheard him saying that he would never court Penelope. And they had a good conversation about that in the first episode of this season. But still, I just think he's an ass. And yeah, so we will see if my opinion changes as I watch the rest of the season. But yeah, with that being said, I need to jump back into, again, the magic, and I will update you guys when I have an update. Okay, happy Tuesday. Technically Wednesday, because it's 1 a.m. So I have quite the reading update for you guys. I finished 3 things since I last talked with you yesterday. Also, I am now on episode 5 of Bridgerton, of season 3 of Bridgerton, and y'all, I am conflicted about this season, because on the one hand, I like that there seems to be less angst than season 2. Like season 2, as much as I adore Kate and Anthony, just way too much angst to get to their happily ever after, right? So I do like there's much less angst with like Penelope and Colin. However, I I'm not feeling it between Colin and Penelope, and I really think it just boils down to I don't like Colin. I still don't like him. I don't think it's the actor, because I think that the actor was perfectly cast as Colin. I just don't like Colin, and I'm just not feeling the chemistry between Penelope and Colin. I am not feeling that Colin is like all in, you know, in love with Penelope, and I still get the vibe from Penelope that she used to be in love with him, but she's not anymore, especially because of what she overheard him saying to his friends at the end of season 2. I just feel like she's kind of gotten over him. So now that they're together, like, spoilers if you haven't watched the season, but I've been seeing a lot of people talking about this one scene in particular online, so I thought that I would bring it up too. But you know, at the end of episode 4, we've got the now infamous carriage scene, and that scene did nothing for me because I'm just not feeling it between these two characters. I'm also just finding myself getting annoyed with most of the characters. Eloise is annoying. Benedict is kind of annoying. I don't know. I loved his character in the first season for sure, and I do remember really liking his character in the second season, but this season I'm just like, I can tell the writers don't really know what to do with his character. I'm also annoyed with Francesca, and I have no good reason for that. None whatsoever. I just find her annoying. So there's that. The only characters that I'm liking this season are like Penelope. I really like Lady Danbury's brother so far from what we've seen of him. So first of all, I read the whole second half of Again the Magic yesterday, and I loved this as much as I did the first 2 times that I read this book. I of course cried, especially towards the end. This is just the perfect angsty historical romance. Also, I feel like the way this book ends is just perfection, because right before the epilogue we see Aline and McKenna find their way to their happily ever after, and then the epilogue, which is only like 2 pages, but the epilogue gives you so much. We see Livia and Gideon finding their way to their happily ever after, and it is just amazing. That ending always makes me so happy. So yeah, I love this book so much. If you are someone that doesn't think they will enjoy historical romances, I would highly recommend checking this one out, especially if the premise appeals to you at all, if you like angst, if you like just beautiful romances. Read it. Okay, thanks, bye. I also read last night volume 11 of The Way of the House Husband. This is a comedy manga series that I've been reading since the beginning, and this is just like pure stupidity, but I'm entertained. Basically, we have Tatsu, our main character. He was part of the Yakuza. Now he is married. He's a house husband, specifically, of course. And it's just all of these hijinks that he finds himself in. And I will say it's definitely becoming very one note. The joke of the series is becoming a bit tired. I really loved the first few volumes and I've enjoyed what I've read since, but it really is like just one type of humor, one type of joke. And so after a while, it's like, you know what? I'm good. I don't think I'll be reading any more volumes. I mean, I say that, but these volumes are super, super quick. Like usually it takes me about an hour or so to read a volume of manga, and these volumes, it takes me like 30 minutes. So it's just like a quick hit of like stupid humor and serotonin. So I probably will keep reading as the volumes come out, but definitely the first few volumes were my favorites of the series. Then all day today, I was working my way through Twilight of Embers by Tessa Hale. This is a new to me author, but I have been super intrigued about this series because Jess from Peace Love Books, Samantha from Books with Samantha, Christy from Christy Reads a Lot, Tori from Novel Life, like there's several of my friends who have been reading this series and have been absolutely obsessed with it. So this is a paranormal Why Choose trilogy. We have our main character Hayden, and she starts school at this little university, and she finds that she has a very strong connection with these 5 men. And these 5 men have a very strong bond with one another. They are brothers, some of them by blood, because there's a set of twins within the 5 of them, but they're all dragon shifters, and we learn early on in the book that Hayden herself is a dragon shifter, and female dragon shifters are super, super rare in this world, and she has now formed a mating bond with the 5 of them. And so yeah, this was a fun time. I gave this leaning more towards like 4.5 stars. I had a really good time with this one. I have a feeling I'm going to enjoy books 2 and 3 even more. I think this was a solid introduction to the world in the series, but I definitely think we could be delving deeper into the individual relationships that Hayden has with the guys, which I'm sure we'll see in the next 2 books. Yeah, I just want more, you know? So I really enjoyed it. The audiobook is top notch. We have 6 narrators, so each major character has their own narrator, and I thought that they all did a really great job narrating this. So yeah, I don't know if I'm going to continue this series this week. We'll see. The audiobooks are also pretty short. They're like 6 hours, so I flew through this book today. And I liked the writing. The pacing was really great. This ended on a cliffhanger. Fun times, you know. But I think I'm in the mood to maybe read an alien romance. I'm definitely back in my Ruby Dixon era. And the next book I need to read, according to her publication order, is book 1 of her Ice Home series. So if I pick that book up tomorrow, I will definitely tell you all more about it. But yeah, for now, it's like 1:40 now. I might watch a bit more Bridgerton, but you know what? I have been in the mood to watch High School Musical. It has been years since I've watched that movie. I still think High School Musical 2 is my favorite of the series. I actually never watched High School Musical 3. So I think I need to just watch the whole series and have a good time. it has been quite a few days since I last updated you guys. I think my last update was like Tuesday and today's now Sunday. So hi everyone. This is definitely going to be longer than a weekly vlog for sure, since I haven't updated too much, but I also haven't been reading too much in the last few days, so there hasn't been a lot to talk about. Also, I'm dealing with some tooth pain, so that really sucks, especially because I went to the dentist yesterday to see what's going on and they didn't have any answers for me. They said that it's probably just too early to tell what exactly is going on, and I'm also just confused because the pain was in one tooth. I have a tooth that has a crown on it because I got a root canal done a few years back. So the pain was coming from that tooth, so I thought maybe something was going wrong with the root canal. And they did an x-ray. They said no, the root canal still looks great. But now I wake up today and the pain is in a completely different tooth. So what is happening? What is going on? I am annoyed. But reading things. I have finished 2 things since I last talked to you guys, and then I'm halfway through another book. So I read the entirety of Lauren's Barbarian by Ruby Dixon. This is book 1 in her Ice Home series. I read this on Wednesday. I read this all in one day, which I feel like it's been a long time since I've read an entire book in a day that wasn't a novella, because this was like an 8-hour audiobook, so it was like a full-length novel. But this, in Ruby Dixon's like Ice Planet universe, you should read books 1 through 15 of her Ice Planet Barbarian series and then go into this book. I do think that you'd be slightly confused if you just started with this book, even though it's the start of a new and different series. It's definitely very closely connected with her Ice Planet Barbarian series, but so the premise of this part of the story is that we're on the same ice planet that we've been on for the Ice Planet Barbarian series, but our heroine Lauren ends up shipwrecked on this random like tropical island that exists on this ice planet. And so she meets our hero, I think his name is Cathar, yeah, who is the chief of his tribe on this tropical island, but the tribe is dying out because there's a volcano on this island that erupted some years back, and so a lot of his people passed away because of that. So there's now only like 3 people left and a baby that he has to take care of. And so I really enjoyed this. I like where the story is going on this ice planet. I'm definitely looking forward to continuing on with the series, with book 2. I feel like there's not much I can say because I'm now like 16 books in to this world, to this universe. But these books really are like candy to me. Like, I pretty much know what I'm getting into. I know that I'm gonna have a good time. I do think that there have been a few books here and there throughout the series that have been standouts. I think this book is a standout. I really enjoyed it. There's like a fated mates aspect to it. I don't want to spoil anything though. Like, I definitely would recommend starting out with the Ice Planet Barbarian series, but don't go into it expecting like amazing literature. Like, these are just fun alien romances. We've got blue alien dudes who like worship their heroines, and it's everything. It's great. It's just a fun time, nothing to be taken too seriously, you know? I feel like ever since the Ice Planet Barbarian series got picked up by Berkeley and is now being traditionally published, a lot of people have been picking up this series that I feel like were never meant to pick up this series, and they take these books way too seriously and just like rip them to shreds in their reviews, and that just makes me really sad because I personally really love this series. I love these books, but they're just not meant to be taken seriously. Like, just have fun, suspend your disbelief. I mean, it's aliens, right? Like, you know, like, just have fun with it, you know? But yeah, so I am definitely looking forward to continuing on with that series, probably some point soon, because I'm definitely in an alien romance mood still. I also read the entirety of A Little Light Mischief. by Cat Sebastian. This was our book club pick for the Blushing Blue Stocking Society for July. This is a historical romance book club that I run with my friend Lisa from Remarkably Lisa. So our live show was this past Saturday. I'll link that somewhere, probably up in the cards above. That live show was on my channel. I liked this. I didn't love it. I gave it 3 stars. It's just so short. Like, look how tiny this book is. It was like a 2.5-hour audiobook. I just feel like there wasn't like any time to develop these characters, to develop their romance, or to have any real plot. I mean, there was a semblance of a plot, but it was just so short that nothing much could happen. So I gave it like 3 stars. And then I'm currently just about halfway through Reckless by Lauren Roberts. I am on page 203, and there are just about 400 pages. So yeah, pretty much the halfway mark. This is book 2 in her Powerless trilogy. I think I mentioned this trilogy earlier in the vlog. Book 1 was definitely heavily inspired by the Hunger Games, but I had a really fun time with it. This book is more of a game of cat and mouse between Kai and Peyton, our hero and heroine. At the end of the first book, shit really hit the fan, and so basically Kai and his brother Kit are kind of in their villain era now, and they are after Peyton. And so yeah, the whole first half of this book pretty much has been him chasing Peyton. And so now the story has definitely shifted a lot. I'm very interested to see what the second half of this book is going to offer, because it feels like Kai and Peyton have now found common ground. Maybe it won't be so much a cat and mouse game anymore. So I'm just very intrigued, but I will tell you, I'm not as obsessed with this book so far as I was with book 1. Like, I really had a fun time with book 1. I found myself flying through, especially like the whole first half or so of that book. Whereas with this book, it's definitely been a slower process. Like, it's taken me, what, 3 days now to just read the first half of this. I will definitely keep you guys updated. Also, I am still on episode 5 of Bridgerton. Yes, I am. I'm further into the episode than I was the last time I talked to you guys, but I am still on episode 5. I am bored at this point. Spoilers for the season. By the way, whenever I bring it up in this vlog, it's gonna be spoilers, but I feel like now at this point, the only angst and the only like interesting aspect is gonna be like, when is Colin gonna find out that Penelope is Lady Whistledown? And he's probably gonna be pissed like he was in the book, and I'm just like annoyed and bored. So I don't know. And there's just like no other compelling things going on this season or in this episode. Like, I just feel like this season is kind of meandering and trying to find its way to someplace interesting. But yeah, I'm also still not feeling the chemistry between Penelope and Colin. Like, we had their first sex scene towards the beginning of this episode, and literally the only reaction I had was like, oh my God, Nicola, who plays Penelope, like, she is a goddess. She is fucking stunning. Oh my God, I want to be her. She's absolutely gorgeous, but that was my only reaction to that. So yeah, with that being said, I just worked out a little while ago, so I'm feeling pretty good. Definitely gonna read more of Reckless. What is up, my beautiful bookish besties? I have lots of thoughts on lots of things. It's been, how many days has it been since I've updated you guys? I don't remember, but I have finished a book that I have thoughts on. I also finished, let's talk about this first and get out of the way. I finished season 3 of Bridgerton. And the last couple of episodes were fine. They were all right. Nothing to write home about. Yeah. My like overall feelings about the series or about the season, and I may have talked about this already, these show writers don't have a fucking clue what to do with Benedict's character, especially in this season. They like truly did not know what to do with him, so they just like put him in a threesome situation. Penelope and Colin's romance, I will say I like the way that it all wrapped up in the final episode. I thought that the monologue he said to Penelope after she reveals herself to be Lady Whistledown to the whole ton, I thought that was actually very, very sweet. It made me tear up a little bit. It really did, especially when he said the line about just him feeling so lucky to be loved by a woman like her and to be surrounded by her light. And he said something like, if loving you is my only purpose in life, then that will be a life well spent. And like, damn, that's a good line. That is a very good line. I am indifferent about the whole Francesca storyline, how that ended this season. I know a lot of people were like up in arms and clutching their pearls about Michael. He's Michael in the books, but they decided to make Michael Michaela in the series. So if you haven't read that book, I'm not going to spoil that storyline because that's a couple books down the line. But yeah, I know a lot of people were up in arms about that. I just don't care about Francesca. I don't know if it's the actress. I don't know if it's just the character, because her book is actually one of my least favorite books of the series. Like, is it just that I don't connect with her character? I don't know. I don't know. Kate and Anthony were really cute, and I do like how the whole Lady Whistledown storyline ended at the end of the season. From what I remember in the books, like, she completely gives up Lady Whistledown. She completely gives up the column, whereas in the show we see that she still is writing the column, but as herself, as Penelope Bridgerton, which I really liked that change. Overall, it's my least favorite season of the show. I think as much as I love Kate and Anthony, my ranking would be season 1 is my favorite, then season 2, then season 3. If I were to include Queen Charlotte in that ranking, I might do season 1, season 2, Queen Charlotte, and season 3. Let's get to a reading update. I did finish Reckless by Lauren Roberts. Y'all, this book took me so long to finish. I think I was reading this book for like 4-5 days, and it's a 400-page book. That is not good, my friends, especially because this is a YA book. Like, I usually fly through YA. This book, the second half became really boring for me. Thank God I had the audiobook, because I don't know how I would have gotten through this without that. Pretty much nothing happens in this book. That's the bottom line. I gave this 3 stars because it was just fine. Basically nothing happens. I could summarize this book in 1 sentence and it wouldn't even be spoilery. Because like I explained in the beginning of the book, it's a game of cat and mouse between Kai and Peyton. And then in the second half of the book, it's just their very, very long and slow journey back to Ilia, back to the palace, for Peyton to meet her fate, to meet her punishment for what she did at the end of book 1. And I guessed that plot twist. I sure did guess that little cliffhanger at the end, Miss Lauren Roberts. And it's just a shame that this book fell into middle book syndrome. This is going to be a trilogy, and this definitely feels like a filler book. My God, you could just tell, I could just tell that this author was just stretching page time to get to that cliffhanger at the end. So last night I had no idea what to pick up. I just knew that I wanted to pick up something that I would be obsessed with, and that like I was just so in the mood for, especially after finishing a lackluster book like this. So I was randomly scrolling, you know, on Goodreads, on Instagram, and I saw that Jess from Honest Fiction posted on her Instagram stories just like all the books that she's read so far this month, and she was saying that she had read so many 5-star fantasy romance books, and one book that I saw on this story really stood out to me, and that is A Ship of Bones and Teeth by Karina Halley. I am a huge Karina Halley fan. Everything I have read by her has been at least a 4-star. Most of what I've read by her has been 5-star books. And this is a dark fantasy romance, and this is just so the vibe for summer because we've got pirates, we've got sirens, we've got sea witches. Like, I immediately knew that I just had to pick up this book ASAP, and luckily the audiobook was available on Hoopla, and then the ebook is available on Kindle Unlimited. So the setup for this is everything. Think of it as The Little Mermaid goes wrong. Very, very wrong. So we have Marin, our main character. She's a siren when she's 16. She is swimming along by her lonesome, and she sees Prince Eric on the shore, immediately falls in lust with him, definitely not in love with him. Also a big difference with this story is that, like, she's a siren, not a mermaid, and there's a huge difference for sure. Although, like, in this world, sirens and mermaids are one and the same, but, like, she's like a monstrous creature, basically. Sirens, if you don't know, from like folklore, they lured men to their deaths, and in most cases like ate their hearts. So very gory for sure. But she finds that like she immediately falls in lust with him. She doesn't want to like destroy him, she just wants to be with him. So she makes a deal with Adonia, this sea witch, and you know, as the Little Mermaid story goes, she becomes a human. But unfortunately, it goes very, very wrong. Yes, she gets the prince. She marries Prince Eric, but he turns out to be incredibly cruel and abusive to her as the years go on. The main part of the story takes place 10 years after she made this deal with Adonia. And so, content warning for domestic abuse, because my God, Eric is the worst to Marin. And then the main catalyst for the story is that Eric and Marin get kidnapped by this pirate and his crew. He is Captain Ramsey, the hero of our story. And the two of them immediately have this tension, this connection, this chemistry. But obviously, like, she's married, he's got his own baggage, he's on his own mission with his crew, and like she's hiding that she's a siren. Like, there's so much going on, and this definitely has a darker tone to it. Not only do we have like the domestic abuse, I do want to point out there, content warning for suicidal ideation. Marin talks about that a lot in her inner monologue, especially towards the beginning of the story. Basically, once she realized that her life as a human was going to be hell, you know, she immediately regrets it, and it just only gets worse. And so she gets to a point where she has lost the will to live. But this is so good. Oh my God, I'm obsessed. From literally the first few pages, I knew I was gonna love this book. I love the twist on the Little Mermaid story. I love this connection between Captain Ramsey and Marin, and I can't wait to see where it goes. I'm just very, very excited. And Karina Halley writes very sexy books, but I am also just like a sucker for her writing. I just love her stories. I'm 5 hours into the audiobook, and I have 8.5 hours left. I'm probably around the 40% mark, and I'm just vibing. I'm having a good time with this dark fantasy romance story. So I'll definitely keep you guys updated on that. I have been talking for 14 minutes, my goodness. I need to go jump back into my current read, and I will talk to you guys later. All right, what is up, everyone? It's been a few days since I last updated. My God, when did I last update this vlog? I don't even know. And honestly, at this point, I don't even know how long I've been filming this vlog. I think 2 weeks. but the fact that I am losing track of time is concerning. But I wanted to wrap this vlog up. I think I might start another reading vlog tomorrow, and I'll get into why in a minute. But yeah, I wanted to give a final reading update for this vlog. I need to start editing this vlog, uploading it, all those good things. So I finished A Ship of Bones and Teeth by Karina Halley, and I really loved this, you guys. Like, man, every time I pick up a Karina Halley book, like, I'm always just like immediately obsessed, and I'm just vibing, you know? This was just a fantastic dark fantasy romance with pirates. We've got sirens. We've got other paranormal creatures that I'm not going to get into because that could be spoilery. We've got magic. We've got, this definitely has like a historical romancy feel because this takes place at some point in the 1500s. They don't bring up the time period too much, but I do remember them mentioning the 1500s. I would also really highly recommend this if you love The Little Mermaid story and you want to read a darker romance with a big twist on that story, on that mythology. I thought that that all was really well done. I also really enjoyed how messy the romance is between Marin, our heroine, and Ramsey, our hero. Every now and then I just love reading a good messy romance, and this definitely gave me that. I also found myself getting emotional towards the end. I definitely teared up a little bit towards the very end. Didn't expect to emotionally connect so much with these characters, but I really enjoyed Marin's character in particular. I felt her very easy to relate to, and I really loved following this story. So definitely looking forward to reading more fantasy romance from Karina Halley. I know that there's a vampire romance duet that she's written that I really want to read, and then she's also written a dark fantasy, I believe, duet that centers around Finnish mythology. I think book 1 is called River of Shadows. I definitely want to read that soon as well. There's still a lot of contemporary romances in her backlist that I haven't read yet too, that I definitely want to get to at some point. So I'm in the middle of 2 books right now, which is part of my reasoning for maybe just jumping right into another reading vlog. So I'm currently 50%, right at the 50% mark of my season of Scandal by Julie Ann Long. This is book 7 in her Palace of Rogue series. This is just a really great, cozy, historical romance series. I definitely would recommend this series if you are someone that enjoys lighter historical romances like Tessa Dare, for instance. Julie Ann Long definitely has a bit of that Tessa Dare vibe in her books, especially the comedic aspects. This story in particular is about Lord Kirk, who is staying at the Palace of the Thames, which is this boarding house. And in the first couple books of this series, we get the origin story behind how this boarding house gets started. And then we also have Catherine, who is also staying at the Palace on the Thames. She is here for her first and most likely only London season, because that's really all that she can afford. She's from the country. He is someone who is very much focused on his career. He is an MP, he works in Parliament, and he's definitely a bit older than her. I think he's in his mid-30s. She's like 23, something like that. And so this is just centering around her trying to navigate her season, even though she's from the country. Like, she really has no idea what she's gotten herself into, and him kind of helping her out with it. And of course he's falling for her along the way. I will say I was really enjoying the first 30% or so of this book. Like I said, I do all in all really enjoy Julie Ann Long's writing style. She's a bit of a hit or miss author for me, because some of her books I've given 5 stars and are some of my like top favorite historical romances. Some of her books I really don't enjoy all that much, and I'm kind of worried that this book is gonna fall into the category of a book that I don't end up liking so much, because the last like 15% or so have been a chore for me to get through. I feel like I'm dragging through it right now. It's just feeling slow. So I'm gonna pause this book for now. I'm not DNFing it by any means. Like, I'm still currently reading it, but I decided to pick up a completely different book because last night I had a really fun movie night with my best friend in the whole wide world, or one of my best friends in the whole wide world, and her fiance. And we went and saw Longlegs, the horror film. This came out like 3 weeks ago at this point, starring Nicolas Cage as the villain. He is a serial killer known as Longlegs. And we all like really loved it. It starts out as a story about an FBI agent, you know, kind of chasing down a serial killer, but then it ends up being so much more than that. And I thought it was just an expertly made film. Definitely very scary. But we all really enjoyed it. And so now I am just craving thrillers and horror novels and like movies and shows and things like that. So I think that's one of the reasons why I decided to pause my season of Scandal, is because I'm not quite in the mood for historical romance now. So I decided to pick up The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. I feel like this is the most hyped thriller of the past couple of years, definitely on Book Talk, on TikTok. Like, from what I understand, like, everybody has been reading and talking about this book, and you can see that on Goodreads. There's like 400,000 ratings on Goodreads of this book. So I've been meaning to read this for a while. Because of that, I've been meaning to check out this author. She writes thriller novels, and she seems to be pretty prolific. She has a healthy backlist, and I don't think she's been writing for all that long. So I flew through the first 25% of this. I definitely agree with what I have been seeing online, that this is a very well-paced book. It's very addictive, very easy to get through, and that's definitely the vibe that I wanted picking up a thriller, because some thrillers start out really slow, and I enjoy slow burn thrillers and horror novels, but I definitely wanted something with a quicker pace when I picked this up. So I'm glad about that. So the basic premise of this, we have Millie. She gets this job as a housemaid, a live-in housemaid for this couple, Nina and Andrew. They are definitely very rich people. And she's also kind of sort of a nanny for Cecilia, who is Nina and Andrew's daughter. She has to take care of her like in the afternoons and things like that. And so pretty much right from the get-go, we see that things are just not what they seem. Nina, her employer, is very hot and cold with her. She probably has bipolar disorder, but she's also just like super nice to Nina, almost like too nice to Nina at times, and then like borderline cruel to her at other times, and like gaslighting her, and like shit is crazy, and I'm only 25% in. Like, what is going on? So this is definitely like the perfect vibe for me right now. I'm flying through this. I definitely think I could finish this by tomorrow. That's how quickly I'm getting through it. And the audiobook is really well done so far. I did just notice on the cover it says an absolutely addictive psychological thriller with a jaw-dropping twist. I find that to be a very weird thing to put on the cover of a thriller novel, because I feel like you're making your readers go in with very high expectations of the plot twist. I have never seen that on the cover of a thriller novel. That is very odd. So that is going to be it for this reading update. That's going to be it for this vlog. And because I'm in the mood for completely different books now, I think I am going to go ahead and start another vlog. I think I will still read a couple of romance novels here and there, but I definitely want to be reading thrillers and horror novels right now. So with all that being said, thank you so much if you got to this part of the vlog. I sincerely hope that you enjoyed this video. Definitely leave a comment down below if you want to discuss any of the books that I brought up in this video, or any of the TV shows or movies that I've brought up in this video. And I would love it if you would leave a like and subscribe, and I thank you so much in advance if you do. And with all of that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!